Hi there, Karen Flaherty from Living by Human Design. Hope you're doing well today and hope you're enjoying the 4th of July weekend if you're in the States. So today in the Human Design Weather, we're going to be talking about the Gate of Provocation, which is the Gate 39. Okay, so we've got the Sun in Gate 39, which started July 1st in the morning, and it goes until July 7th, also in the morning. And opposite that, we've got the Earth in Gate 38, which is called the Fighter. So the 39, so these are opposite each other right down here off the root. And so the root is already defined for everybody all week. And so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out because not everybody usually has root definition. Usually it's only about 2/3 of us. And so everybody will have root definition all week with this sacral definition as well. And we've got the 39 coming off the right side of the root, and we've got the 38 coming off the left side of the root. And so that 38 is the fighter and the 39 is provocation. And you put these two together, basically what you get is violence and fighting. And that's not a good thing. As we know, everything in the chart is there for a reason and it's there for a good purpose. But the downside of the Gate 39 is violence. And the 38 is all about fighting for what's worth fighting for. And so to some people that, for example, in Florida, we have this law called stand your ground. For some people, that's worth fighting for, protecting their property or however they interpret that. The 39 is about the provocation of that. So the 39 would be the provocateur and the 38 is the fighter. So that's how they kind of play hand in hand. And, it can lead to actual violence. It can lead to just teasing or basically pushing people's buttons. It can run the gamut. This is the kind of week where we have tensions. One of the crosses is called the cross of tension, and there's a good reason for it. It can be a good thing that there's tension, or it can be harmful. So just something to be aware of this week. So we start and end with these two centers defined again. That's the sacral and the root center, and they're connected by the 360, which is the channel of evolution or growth. And so we're all going to feel this energetic sacral energy. We'll have energy this week, but also we'll be grounded with the root center. And so that may help in terms of the interactions between people. Hopefully the groundedness will prevail. So this Gate 39, we do call it provocation or obstruction in the original I Ching. It's the value of obstruction in provoking analysis, assessment, and reevaluation. So it's basically countering any argument or provoking an argument because you want to reevaluate things. Mostly what we see it as is people who tease each other, people who are provocateurs, people who are basically pushing the buttons of the people that they know. And so they kind of know which buttons to push when, and the things that will anger that person or at least provoke that person into not feeling so great or at least feeling upset or annoyed or frustrated or, any of those kinds of things. In the incarnation crosses this week, as I mentioned, the cross of tension, provocation, and individualism. And then in quantum human design, it's called recalibration. The Gate 38 is called the fighter. It's also opposition in the original I Ching. It's the ability to preserve individual integrity through opposition to detrimental forces. So again, this is fighting for what's worth fighting for, finding the things that you do want to, protect or take care of or have a say in, and then doing that. Not everything, just some things, the ones that really make a difference to you. And so in the Gene Keys, struggle is the shadow here, perseverance is the gift, and honor is the CD. And in quantum human design, it's called the visionary. So in the Gene Key 39, the way Richard talks about it is that the shadow is provocation, the gift is dynamism, and the CD is liberation. And so again, all the gates, all the Gene Keys have they have balances, right? They have different levels that are kind of on the low side. That's the shadow. Middle, or the gift, is where we're actually helping other people. The shadow usually has a downside to it. The gift always has a side to it, and then the CD is the kind of the biggest energy here. And then, so the CD is really liberation. And he says in the graphic, liberation is about being free from provocation, because we do have the ability to decide in the moment, right? Here's the provocation, here's the result. And in the in-between part, we get to decide how we're going to react. And so there could be, a sibling, for example, who has teased you all their life, and you never liked it. You have a choice in the moment when they cause that provocation, that teasing, that, pushing the buttons, to decide how to react to that. You always get to decide what the result and the reaction is. And so liberation is really about being free from provocation. So again, one of those ones where it's not easy, but it's a simple solution to the issue. And so he also says, only in giving up the illusion of your individual freedom can you receive an even greater gift, which is the liberation of being. So we get to be ourselves liberated when we give up the illusion of individual freedom, when we realize that not everybody, and it's ironic that he talks about individual freedom, because this is also the birth of the United States, right? This during this time. And I'll be talking about that in a few minutes. But when we give up the illusion of individual freedom and realize that we're all one, we're all united, we're all in this together, basically, can you receive an even greater gift? And that's the liberation of being. And then you get to be yourself. You do have that individual freedom, which is part and parcel of everybody else's freedoms, but we get to express it in our own way. And so it's really caring about everybody else and knowing that we're all in this together, but that we get to express it in our own individual way. On the repressive shadow, it's feeling trapped. That's the fearful side, is feeling trapped. And you can imagine how when people feel like they're trapped, like a trapped animal in a cage, that doesn't feel good. And that will cause them to create the provocation, right? And then the reactive shadow is where they're also being provocative. These are things we can watch out for this week. There'll be, let's just put it this way, there'll probably be more of them than usual. So we have a lot of people who have birthdays during this time and who can be provocative in their own way, right? Because the provocateur can, almost be a costume that they're wearing, right? So people like Tom Cruise, Princess Diana, George W. Bush, Henry VIII, Ringo Starr, Lindsay Lohan, they can all be provocateurs in their own way, in their own industry. And they are, sometimes in that tension, or find themselves in situations that are tense or might be tense for their careers. But let's talk about the U.S. Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. So for the birth of the United States, and as you probably realize, you can do the birth chart for almost any company or country or any other event in your life. The United States was born on July 4th, 1776 at around 5:10 p.m. in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is when the last person signed the Declaration of Independence, and then brought the Constitution into effect. I heard somebody recently, Greg Braden actually was talking about the birth of the United States and how the Declaration of Independence, if you read it through, is really just it's really just a document about what the vision for the United States is. It's the Constitution and the Bill of Rights that really put into effect the policies and the laws that we live by, and the rights of speech and religion and all of that that's in the Constitution and Bill of Rights. But in the Declaration of Independence itself, it's really just a vision. It's a vision for the future. And if, we, as Benjamin Franklin said, when asked what kind of government this is, it's a republic if you can keep it. We have a republic that's based on democratic policies and voting, but it is a republic. It's not, one man, one vote, really. It's a republic. And so we are, kind of in the process of reevaluating this all the time. The Supreme Court comes up with decisions, as they did this week, that don't always follow what the people want. And that's a good example of how this is a republic versus a pure democracy. So anyway, if we do the birth chart for the United States, it's a projector with a 5-1 profile, which kind of makes sense, right? It does have a number of centers defined on this chart, but overall it's a projector. So we're here to be, the United States theoretically is here to be wise and to guide and direct people. And hopefully that's what it does do and can do and will do or continue to do. It is the left angle cross of individualism, so that's not so surprising. We all seem to be a country of individualists. And the 5-1 profile is also not surprising in that everybody, or at least a lot of people, are projecting onto the United States what they think it should be, not what it is. And so sometimes that comes into conflict because what it is versus what people think it is can differ, obviously. There were 2 motors, so the root gives us some groundedness. The emotional solar plexus gives us some tribal emotional energy. It is the 4130, so it's pretty intense, as some things, many events in the United States can be. It's also got the 5720, which is all about intuitive knowing in the moment, and the 4816, which is the channel of talent. And then also the 317, which is the channel of the alpha, which is about leadership and democratic leadership, usually, and having influence. The 45 is interesting because it's the gate of the king or the queen. While we're not obviously a monarchy, it's nice to have that air of leadership, which is what that refers to. And open sacral, open head and ajna, open will center. It's interesting if you think about it in terms of not being so willful, not supposedly putting our will on others, except, if you look at history, that's not always the case. The 51 is the gate of shock, coming off the will center. That's the only gate we have coming off there. Get the gate 15, which is nice. That's the love of humanity, and the gate of extremes. And then, of course, we have both the 38 and the 39, which we talked about. So we fight for what's worth fighting for, and we provoke others at times. I think, we could say that's probably true. The 6, interesting that's there. That's all about defense. That's all about being the warrior and protection and making sure tribally that, as a culture, that we're safe and being willing to protect things at all costs, really. 60 is about evolution and growth. And that's certainly been the case. In 4130, that's all about creativity and intensity. It's the channel of fantasy and desire. And so it if you think about it in terms of the creativity that it takes to, keep a country going, and then that intensity is in there. 62 up off the throat is the gate of details. If you look at any bill in Congress, there are a lot of details associated with that. And so, and then I just noticed in the Chiron, we also get the gate 51. So we tend to do shocking things as a country. We tend to be shocking at times. But the 57 is up there a few times, both in the unconscious earth and in the unconscious moon. And the 30 is in the moon. So intuitive intensity are what drive, intuition and intensity are what drive or motivate the people of the United States. So those are just a big generalizations, but you probably get the drift, and you probably have your own opinions about that and about all of what I just said. So feel free to have those opinions. There's another 57 in there. In Saturn, intuitively moving, hopefully in the right direction. Hopefully we can get to the point where we do take that individualism in expressing ourselves to heart, while also taking into account what everybody else needs as well. That's, probably the best we can hope for, and moving toward a more perfect union all the time. So I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July holiday if you're celebrating with barbecues and family and friends, and be aware of the provocateurs among the family and friends, because they'll be out there and they'll be feeling the energy of these transits. So have a great time, and I'll see you next time. Be well.